Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to Mets Musings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. Sad news this week in Metsland, as you've already heard. Eddie Kranepool, one of the, I guess you could call him an original Met, though he wasn't with the team on opening day, came later in the season, but was with the Mets from 1962 on. Has passed away at the age of 79. Eddie's had some health problems the last few years. You remember that he had was looking for a kidney transplant, eventually got it, extended his life, and was a fixture at Citi Field. You'd see him all around there at Mets events all over the country, and he was truly Mr. Met. Had the team lead in hits until David Wright passed him, had the team lead, still has the team lead in most games played as a New York Met. And Eddie Kranepool, dead at the age of 79. I had the great honor of meeting with Mr. Kranepool. I saw him a number of times. A couple of book signings I saw him at. I saw him at an event that the 69 Mets held on their 50th anniversary at Stu Leonard's. And also had the pleasure of going to his home once to view his collection of memorabilia. So it's really a sad time for me, and as well as his family, of course. And our condolences go out to the Kranepool family. If you're interested, he had a terrific book that came out called The Last Miracle. And just a couple of years ago, it's still available on Amazon, or go to the library and take it out and read it. It's a terrific book. And also on episode number 517 of Mets Musings, I interviewed Mr. Kranepool about that book. So if you're interested, I'll put the link in the description below, and you can go check out that interview as well. So Eddie, always a nice man. Love to talk baseball and talk about the Mets, and we're gonna miss you, Ed. That's the fourth one from the '69 team that we've lost this year. Jerry Grody, Jim McAndrew, Buddy Harrelson, and now Eddie Kranepool. So they're getting older, and that those stories and stuff we're gonna lose unless some of these other guys get them down on paper. Now, thank goodness that Eddie Kranepool has a book out there. Ron Swoboda has a book. Cleon Jones has a terrific book. Um, can't remember, and there's a couple other books on the 69 Mets that came out on the 50th anniversary. So go check them out. It's history. If you're a Met fan, you want to know the history of your team. And it was an exciting time, believe me. And a wonderful time. And you should read about it because it was quite a bunch of guys. Oh, Shamsky has one of my favorite books of all time out about that season, and about um, visiting Tom Seaver for the last time. So go check it out. Uh, Unfortunately, there was another death that's connected to the world of baseball, and that was James Earl Jones died at the age of 93. Long, healthy life for Mr. Jones. Of course, James Earl Jones, known for voicing Darth Vader in the Star Wars sagas, and his voice, I should say, and played Terrence Mann in Field of Dreams, and had just numerous other roles in movies. Some of the Harrison Ford movies, the spy movies that he did, and just a great actor and a terrific voice. And he leaves us now at the age of 93. All right, let's get to some good news. What a homestand the Mets had, 5-1. They had a 9-game winning streak. Of course, it was ended on the last day of the homestand, but still great, great homestand. 5-1. They got good pitching. The starting pitching was stellar. Terrific performances by Dennis Peterson, or David Peterson, Quintana, McGill, Luis Severino, and Sean Manaea. They were just fantastic. The bullpen, solid. The offense has been clutch. The defense has been solid. And, this defense struggled in the early part of the year, but it seemed to improve with the addition of Jose Iglesias and Luis Torren. Those guys seem to make a difference. And whatever the reason is, the defense has been special. It's been very good. And, let's hope they can continue it the rest of the year. It's not going to get easy now as we go on, but all these games are important. And they went on a road trip, took 2 out of 3 from Toronto. Would have been nice, but Peterson faulted a little bit there in one of the games. Manaea was brilliant again. Did not get a win in a 6-2 Mets win. He did not get it, but the Mets in this game yesterday, as you know, they were no hit through 8 innings, and Manaea matched them pretty much. I mean, it was a 1-0 game going into the ninth, and Manaea and Garrett were terrific in that game, holding Toronto to 1 run. They did manage to score another run, but the Mets came back and scored 6 in the top of the ninth to take the victory from the Blue Jays. So, a terrific game yesterday. You couldn't ask for anything more. It was great. Now, the defense has struggled in Toronto since they went on the road. In the last game in New York, the offense, I should say, I said defense, the offense has disappeared. But they found some yesterday, and hopefully going to Philadelphia, a place that they usually love to go and hit, it will get better. Hopefully. These are going to be the next 6 games are in the division. 3 with Philadelphia, which I don't have to tell you are huge. 3 with Washington, just as huge. Just that they're all, I think there's 16 games left. They're all important games. It would be lovely to win 16 in a row. Starting, they started already be a 17-game winning streak to finish the season. Wouldn't that be terrific? That would be great. That means they'd probably win the division at that point in time, but that's not realistic. But they have to keep winning. We have to go 12-4, something along that lines. Mets have 80 wins right now, and they are 1 game up in over Atlanta in the wild card for the last wild card spot. and closing in on Arizona and San Diego, who were only about a game and a half, 2 games ahead of them for that for the wild card spot. So the Mets are in this thing, and they technically they're only 7.5 games out of first place in the division. So do they have a shot at the division? They got 7 games with Philadelphia. They'd have to sweep Philadelphia and three in Philly, four in New York. It's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. But the main thing is that they're still in this fight, and they have an excellent shot at a wild card. But it's not going to be easy. These are 4 teams fighting for 3 spots. Are all good teams. Arizona's a good team, made it to the World Series last year. San Diego has a good team. They've been playing well, though they've cooled off a little bit. The Braves, we all know the Braves. They're a funny team, though. They're not the same Braves this year. They've had a ton of injuries, lost another pitcher last night. Uh, but you never can count out the Braves. They always find a way. Would it be nice if they went on a losing streak now? That would be terrific. I'd like to be 5 games up in that last wild card spot, but you know, the Mets have some games left with the Braves, so those will be important games. 2 games left, as a matter of fact, with the Braves, and we'll have to see how it all shakes out. This is what you pay for all year. This is the closing of it. This is the important part of the season. Mets have an important off day today to rest, fly to Philadelphia, and get ready for those Phillies. And they normally like to hit there. But, we've got to get guys going. Alonso's got to get going. He's been ice cold again. Lindor was ice cold, but he hit a big home run to tie the game up yesterday. And he's really, he's carried this team on his back. He's taken it. It's time for somebody else to step up and help him out. Um, and Nimmo needs to get a little hot again. He's warming up, but he's not quite there yet. But I have to tell you, the way they won in Toronto these games was very reminiscent of the way they won games in 1969. When you think they don't have a chance, they get a hit, they get an error goes their way, a walk, something sparks them, and they come back and win the game. And this team has a lot of those same kind of earmarks. Now they don't have the same pitching. The 69 Mets had Seaver and Kuzman. They had Nolan Ryan. They had Gary Gentry. They had Jim McAndrew. Good, solid pitchers. Don Cardwell, experience, and they had a terrific bullpen. I'm not sure that this pitching staff lines up with that, but they're solid. They're solid, and they've been pitching extremely well. So let's hope that they can keep it going. And they've been going late into games, which has been a godsend to the bullpen. And look, the job Mendoza has done all year with the bullpen, moving guys around, sending guys up and David Stern, sending guys up and down, keep trying to keep fresh arms in there. It's been just amazing, and it's going to be an exciting 16 games. So strap on yourself to your seat and enjoy the ride. Okay, let's look at some injuries now. Jeff McNeil left last Friday night game after being hit by a pitch in a right wrist. He has a wrist fracture, and he's out the rest of the season, 4 to 6 weeks. he could come back if the Mets make the postseason and go on a deep run. Eddie Alvarez was acquired from the Red Sox, put on the major league roster right away, and has been pretty good for them so far. He's made some nice plays in the field, scored a couple of big runs in a pinch running capacity, so he's contributed already, Eddie Alvarez, and that's good when you get to see somebody selected, brought, and he comes in and participates and contributes right away. Paul Blackburn was was scheduled to rejoin the Mets rotation on September 9th, but he felt something in his lower back after his rehab outing with Syracuse on September the 3rd. Excuse me. He received treatment for it, but it flared again when he tried to run after playing catch on September 8th, which prompted the Mets to push back Blackburn's return. Tyler McGill, who was sensational his last start for Blackburn, was selected for the start in Blackburn's place. So, hopefully McGill pitches another butte as he did when he stepped in for Blackburn. Excuse me. There was no immediate forecast when Blackburn's going to come back, but the hope is that he'll only miss one turn and keep it going. The Mets are going to wait, shut him down for 48 hours, and see how he responds. And if the discomfort is still there, they'll send him back to New York for tests. He had been out for getting hit in the hand by a 0.3 mile per hour line drive, and nothing was broken. That was against the Padres. The hand was fine, it was just a contusion, but he recovered from that. But now the back thing seized up a little bit, so it's always something. Daniel Nuez, who missed close to a month between July and August due to a right pronator strain, made an appearance on August 24th before landing back on the IL with a similar injury. Nunez is getting better, but slowly progressing, manager Carlos Mendoza said in Toronto, adding that Nunez may be getting a point where his forearm symptoms go away completely. Nunez had a good day on September 8th, according to Mendoza, so the Mets will reevaluate him in the current days to see if a throwing progression is feasible. And Kodai Senga could return for the final week of the season and potentially October. He threw another standard 25-pitch bullpen on September 7th, continue his build-up towards returning to the roster. And he is eligible to come off the roster on September 25th, which is the second game against Atlanta. When he got hurt this time with the calf problem, it was against Atlanta, and he was pitching pretty well. So wouldn't it be ironic if he comes back against the Braves and pitches against them? Or they could decide to use him out of the bullpen for the time being into the playoffs, because the rotation is pretty well set right now, and they may not want to mess with it. So that's another thing that we'll have to wait and see. But what a boost that would be to this team if Kodai Senga could come back before the end of the season. So that's good news from the Mets camp. All right, let's take a quick break and come back after this massage.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Okay, we're back, and this just came in across the wires. Blackburn has been sent back to New York for imaging, so you can any hope of him coming back next week is pretty much off the table at this point. Paul Blackburn brought back to New York for imaging and examination. So we'll probably know more tomorrow sometime. Hopefully, the Mets will get announced that what is up with him. But right now, it's time to go down on the farm. Well, it appears the pitching spot Mets. It appears top pitching prospect Brandon Sproat's season may be coming to an end as the Syracuse Mets officially placed him on the AAA development list prior to Tuesday night's contest. For those of you not familiar, the development list is often utilized to help organizations monitor prospects' usage and development while still allowing them to stay with the team and continue learning. It isn't very surprising to see the Mets utilize this with Sproat at this point in the season, as he's already reached a career high 114.1 innings of work across three levels of minor leagues. But it's certainly been a productive year for the righty, as he's been one of the biggest risers in the organization. Overall, Sproat pitched to a strong 3.38 ERA and 1.08 whip while striking out 129 batters across a combined 23 outings with high A Brooklyn, double A Binghamton, and of course, triple A Syracuse. So Brandon Sproat looks like he's done for the year, and but no injuries or anything like that. But uh, you know, um they're gonna just shut him down the rest of the year. Jonah Tong is still going strong though, and he did not allow a hit or a walk in 6 innings in his Double A debut with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. So Jonah Tong has progressed now to Double A and will finish the season there and probably start it next year there. And he's another quick riser this year. 20-year-old kid has really been impressive in Brooklyn and St. Lucie, and now had a great start in Binghamton to start off his Double A career. So we'll be looking for more from Mr. Tong in the next year or so. And Sunday marked the end of the season in Brooklyn and St. Lucie, while Brooklyn finished their season with a win, helped by a fantastic night at the plate from Boston Barrow, who recorded 3 extra base hits. St. Lucie lost despite leading by 2 heading into the ninth inning. While both teams missed out on postseason play, Brooklyn finished the year at a 500 mark, while St. Lucie not so good, had a much rougher go of it for the year. But that's they're developing. They're developing leagues, and that's what the minors are for. And unfortunately, they didn't get off. They didn't have a good season. But a lot of these guys from St. Lucie were moved up. The same thing in Brooklyn. A lot of Brooklyn started with some powerhouse team there. And as guys improved, they got promoted. And that's what you want to see. So that's what happens a lot of times. And then you bring in the newer guys from the draft and stuff, and they've got to get acclimated and stuff. So you can't always go by the records in the minor leagues. You'd like to make postseason play, of course. You'd like to build winning teams down there, of course. But you also want to develop a player and develop a winning situation. And sometimes it's two different tracks they're on. So let's not count that. But Brooklyn at 500, that kudos to them. It doesn't look like Binghamton or Syracuse, whose season ends this Sunday, believe it's this Sunday, or is it the following Sunday? Excuse me. I'm not sure if it's this Sunday or the following Sunday. I don't think either one of those are going to make the playoffs either. So it's not going to be a playoff year for the minor league teams for the Mets, but um, we've seen a lot of guys from Syracuse, and there's a lot of guys yet we have not seen. Unfortunately, some of the pitchers this year, the young pitchers that were in Syracuse that are being touted highly, they struggled a little bit. First year in AAA, though, sometimes that happens. You need that seasoning, and they've got a good taste on it. Next year, I think we'll get a real better idea what Vassell and Hamill and these other guys can do on Sprout, who was pretty good in AAA. But we'll see how they go. It's a jump, and you see a lot of veterans in AAA more so than at AA. So they're more savvy. What do they say about AAA? You see guys that are coming up and on the cusp of going to the majors, and guys going down uh, from the majors back down to the minors. So it's a different kind of league, and it's really a hitters league too, in the international league in which Syracuse plays. So we'll see how it all shakes out next year. But bad news about Blackburn, that he's going to miss another turn, and we don't know what's going to happen from there. But let's keep our fingers crossed that they can fix the problem and he'll be back, or else we'll see him. We may not see him next year unless they sign him as a free agent. But anyway, we shall see how it all shakes out. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're watching on Rumble, please hit the follow button. Uh, we are on all podcast apps. If you just want to hear the audio, so be it. And you can subscribe then too, so you'll always know when an episode of Mets Musings comes out. So until the next time, remember, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go, Mets. I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.